It's about to go down with Marc and Cathey, a live coaching show about dropping ideas. Marc and Cathey coach and have conversations with brilliant idea creators who are reimagining the world through the expression of their words, thoughts, and actions.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to It's About to Go Down. I am Marc Williams.
I'm Cathey Armillas, and Marc and I are very excited because we have our good friend, our family. We were just talking about how we're fam. This is not even like good friend. This is like fam. Alexina, Atin, Shaber. And she's a world-class marketer. She's been from the likes of Wieden and Kennedy, Chiat Day, the list goes on and on and on. She's a personal brand strategist. So not only has she helped companies really dial in on their brand, but she also helps people. She's a speaker. She's a speaker coach like us, right? This is the crew right here. She's the founder of an organization that she created with an awesome name, Luminaries. She's helping leaders amplify their own voice and impact and influence. And she is a Speaker Skills Academy certified coach. Word up. That's why we all have our Word Up shirts on. And let me tell you, Alexina will probably tell you, it was a process to go through 6 months of the training that we provided to be a Speaker Skills Academy coach. Alexina's message, we're really excited to chat about this. The mess is our message. The mess is our message. Alexina, we love you and we're so happy you're here. Welcome to our show.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I love you too. I am so grateful to be here today. I've been looking forward to this conversation for so long. And I do have to say that now, having met you, just coming off of a trip together, and finally, for the first time, I want to say that seeing you two as individuals and what you've done and who you are, but then seeing you two together and what the two of you specifically create together, whether it's this show, whether it's Speaker Skills Academy, the skill set is so complementary, just this work partnership, this work husband, work wife, like connection, and to see what you two do together is so expansive, because hearing about the stories of how you two have met makes me have just so much excitement and hope that maybe there's somebody out there that I haven't even met yet that is going to be so integral to the rest of my life. So just thank you both so much for being and like leading by example and setting such a good vision for what partnership can look like. So I wanted to say that's been something that's been on my heart for a while.
Thank you, Alexina.
Receiving that so
receiving
much.
That 100%.
Yes, and okay, jumping right in. The mess is our message. I can't take credit. As much as I'd love to take credit for that line, I think it was somebody like Robin Roberts might have said something similar, but it's something that people say. The mess is our message. And I heard it yesterday, actually, for the first time. And it just hit me. I was like, write that down. Because for me specifically, I'm the kind of person that runs towards the mess. I'm like, I gotta experience the mess myself. I gotta know that the fire over there is hot. You cannot tell me the fire is hot. I will see about that. And then I go and I get burned, and then I come back and I go, okay.
That was fire.
The fire is hot, people. The fire is hot. But let me tell you what I learned from running into the fire. And that is your message. And if you stay in the mess, it keeps you stuck. But if you focus on alchemizing that experience, that becomes your message. And I love this because that's like personally what that means to me. But on a micro level, when you think about any person, the messy parts are the parts we like put in the closet and we put under the bed and we feel embarrassed or shame or just like it's the last thing we want to talk about is the mess.
Mhm.
But as we know, as being speaking coaches, what is the fastest way to get an emotional connection with somebody? Vulnerability.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
To show a little bit of yourself that might not be perfect, that might not have it always together, that in fact had very difficult experiences perhaps in their life, or very dark times, or was hurt at a young age or even yesterday, you know, like, and that's just so human. It's so human to have those experiences and have those emotions. And if you get stuck in the mess, you can't expand to then be a part of sharing the message. And the message takes you to a whole other vibration, a whole other place. Because it's not just for you, it's about being in service. So many people, when they go through hard times, they sometimes want to then help the people that are going through that same hard time. And that's, oh, I have goosebumps just like thinking about that. Like, that's so human. That's so empathetic. To be in service from what you've experienced. Oof. And then on the macro level, I don't know about everybody else here, but it's feeling messy. It's feeling a little messy right now. You know, the stakes are really high. This is September 2025. It's feeling messy. We turn on the news. We're barraged. We look at our news on our apps. We go on social media. It's a lot. We are confronted with a lot of messy things. And that doesn't mean that you know, toxic positivity your way out of the mess. Like, the mess is real, but the mess is trying to show you something. But it's so easy to get caught in the quicksand of that mess and to stay there and say it's messy. And then we feel helpless. And then that is the worst feeling we can feel, because in a place of helplessness, lose hope.
I've already gotten goosebumps twice, Mark. I don't know about you. 2 times, no joke. Like, I'm not even kidding. Wow.
So it's messy right now. It really is. It's just, I mean, I just got goosebumps too. It is really messy. And I think as we think about a way forward and a path forward, because we're all on this, it's like on this planet together, like all of us. So we can either stay stuck in the mess, or we can start learning from it, or we can start imagining and taking ourselves from what is to what is possible. And that's what that message does. That's what takes us where we want to go. And I have a tool that I can share a little bit later that will take you from finding yourself in this mess to grounding yourself into the center of like who you are, so you can start getting to that message. But anyway, that's that's the idea.
Oh, yeah. Oh. Mark, I know we both have such great things to say about Alexina, but before we even talk about her idea, because it's so deep and valuable, I just wanted to take a second to talk about Alexina back, because she shared something about us, and I'm getting a little teary-eyed right now. Alexina, you are a very humble, kind, creative, beautiful, wonderful person. And just hearing this from you and knowing your heart and knowing that it comes from like deep within your heart is just making me feel really emotional right now. I appreciate this because I know that you mean it. And so anybody watching right now, just know that like when Alexina is saying that life is messy right now, the world's messy, but you can show up in the mess and share your experience with other people. Like, I'm really feeling that, Alexina. So thank you. I cannot wait to dive into that. But I wanted to say that because the messenger is also really important, right?
Mm. Amen to that. All right, I'll throw my hat into the fire for a moment and just say, Alexina, you are the embodiment of the emoji heart,
Right.
right? And not just for that mama love that you always bring. And I always talk about your mama love, but just, I mean, your spirit, the way you speak about things, the visuals you put in people's minds. I mean, when we got to meet you in person, it was such an overwhelming joy.
Oh,
Yeah. So I just want to say thank you. I keep saying two most important words in the human language are thank you. Thank you for being you, absolutely, and for bringing all this love to this place. Um, and for bringing, I love that you said that, Cathey. It's not only the mess, it's not only the message, but it's also the messenger. And you're right, Cathey. There were a number of things that really resonated. The one thing that I've kind of put like a whole bunch of asterisks next to, run towards the mess. You're right. We've heard pull your message out of your mess, but run toward that visual, that there's something behind that that's really got me. And then I would even say, in addition to that, um, it's an act of service to run towards the mess. Those are two nuggets for me. I'm just curious, Alexina, when did you learn, or how did you learn that running towards the mess, as opposed to running away from the mess, was more beneficial?
I want to be clear about one thing. I'm not saying to put yourself in dangerous situations or to self-sabotage or to like create problems for yourself. So I want that to be extremely clear. Just so
Don't
everyone
actually run
doesn't
into
think.
the fire.
Yeah. No. I run into the fire because it's the only way that I learn. For better or for worse, I wish I was the type of person that would listen to other people when they tell me that the fire is hot. But I just happen to be the type of person that it's only through experience that I can like really know, that I can really know it for myself. And then I'm the type of person that will be like, all right, I have all of these experiences, then what was it for? If you're not learning from because then it could be considered failure. If you keep trying or going there or doing that, for a big part of my life, like I felt very lost. I felt very lost for what I was supposed to do, how I was supposed to feel. I knew that I kept saying, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine. But I was avoiding so much. I was avoiding the mess. I was avoiding these messy parts and these messy moments, and therefore was stuck in it. And I knew that there's a different way that you could be living. And I would see that in people, but I didn't know how to do that. And so it wasn't until I have to give a shout out to all the healers out there, the healers, the therapists, the people that can hold the space, that can hold you through understanding the things that have happened to you, or the friends or the family, whoever it may be. You gotta go through. You can't just like avoid it. It's not like these things don't go away. And so I think that's kind of where, again, it's not running. I run towards the experience, but the experience can be really messy or not be the one I thought it was going to be. So there's a lot of learning that comes from that. And I think people can often, who are maybe like me, that just only learn through experience, like you get knocked down, right? But that messenger in me gets me right back up again. Like I don't stay down for long because I know that there's something to be shared from that. Or for me to just like take with me on my journey. So I don't know if that answers it, but that's kind of where.
It does. It
Yeah.
does.
The caveat was nice too, right?
Yes.
Yeah, just to be clear.
Oh, this feels like such a refreshing conversation already. Probably a lot to do with that we all connect. We're all connected in like such a heart-centric way. So this feels really refreshing to me. But one of the things I'm really loving from this thought and this idea, Alexina, is that, you know, there are a lot of messy, hard things in life. And I think our natural tendency as humans is to try to bury them or to feel shame about them and try to hide them to the rest of the world, or there's varying coping mechanisms too, right? People will walk away from hard situations. They'll be very conflict averse. And I think that what you're giving us all autonomy on with this thought is that we have the autonomy to look at the situations that we want to look at and say, this is messy, but I'm going in anyway. And I'm going in because I'm going to save a lot of other people on the other side when I go in and get the message and I come back out and I'm able to share it. And I love that part too, because I love, Marc, that you picked up on that she said being in service. Because if you just do the first two parts, I think it works great for you, but where I think it can really quadruple or even more than that empower is when you can come back out and you're willing to share it with people. I just recently, I'm probably gonna say his name wrong because I think I've been saying his name wrong for years, but Gary Sinise, but I think it's Sinise, right? Or Gary, the actor that played Lieutenant Dan on Forrest Gump, like very famous actor. He's been in so many. Anyway, he was People magazine did like a highlight on him, and I think it was called Human Moments or something, People Moments. Actually, I think it was called People Moments, right? And he talked about his son that died from cancer. And while his son, the day that he found out that his son had cancer, his young son, right? His wife was already going through cancer herself. And so the way that he talked about it, like I can't even explain it. You have to go and listen to it. This man is just a kind, humble person. Like he's a real person and he had, really hard things going on. And he just really talked through the whole thing. And I thought to myself, oh my goodness, I can't even imagine being in that situation. But because I heard him talk about it, I was like, I see a way through. I could see a path through because he was willing to sit and talk about it. So, Alexina, I really appreciate this part of it. And I wanted to focus on that for a second. I wanted to ask you, because Marc already asked you, what gave you this, this heart to run into it, and you had a great response to that. I want to talk about the other side of it now and ask you, what do you think is it stops people from talking about it? And when have you seen the biggest impact when somebody talks about something that they've been in messy? And how can we encourage more people to do it? Because I feel like a lot of people are on the social media stage, and the social media stage says share all the great things. So yeah.
Something I want to touch on something you said about the actor that like was going through all of that very difficult. I mean, just like some of the most difficult things you could ever imagine. And then to come out and share about it, like that takes a lot of courage. And a few years ago or a few months ago, I can't remember, I looked at the etymology of courage. And the first part is like cœur, it's like heart. In French, it's like heart. So it's very like a heartful bravery. It's like you're doing it with heart. You're not being a hero to be a hero. You're doing it because it's something in your heart knows you have to do that and you have to survive that. Because, and I don't remember your original question, but I'm going to go down this path and you tell me if I answer
you
it
go down whatever path
by virtue of what I say. But I've had a lot of really amazing teachers throughout my life. Shout out to the teachers, Marc. Marc Cathey. But I had a lot of teachers throughout my life that have come in many different shapes, sizes, and they've helped me, and they are still helping me recognize what about me, like where that part like comes from. And sometimes that teacher is like a younger version of myself. Because sometimes you've always been this way. Some people, I think they, with life, they really evolve and their identity evolves. And some people, like, they are who they've been their entire lives. And I think that's like, again, like who I am when I look at myself as a kid. It's like, I've always been this person. So let me get back to it. So I think that we do come here, when we talk about like meaning and purpose and all of that, like I subscribe to this idea that like our spirit, our souls, however we want to talk about that intrinsic quality to us that makes us who, alive and breathing, and then not a moment later. That magic, whatever that is, I believe that we've come here to learn things. And then there are people in our lives that we encounter, probably everybody we encounter, whether we like that or not, but we encounter people that either we see as mirrors or we see as helpers that get us very clear on what we want and what we need to do or what we need to learn. Because some of the best teachers are the people that you actually hate how they treated you, that they hurt you, and from that kind of difficulty or the experiences, I mean, the experience you talked about, like losing somebody, losing anybody, I mean, it gets you very clear on what you find valuable. It gets you very clear on how this life is not promised. It gets you very clear on the fact that you are alive. Jon Kabat-Zinn, one of the, they call him like one of the founders of, mindfulness. He was working with cancer patients, and he had this like sort of school at the hospital he was working at. And he would tell them that if you're breathing right now, there's more right with you than there is like wrong with you. If like the cancer is like the wrongness, like there's so much working in your favor on the inside to keep you, that you're alive. You are still alive. And so whether it's like your internal cells and organs and like those are the helpers, or it's the external experiences that are helping you get really clear on what you want or what you need to know for the next part of your journey. So that's where I think a huge part of it has to do with like, if the courage is to take the action, then the investment in that courage is the gratitude. It's looking at every single one of those experiences as something to be grateful for. Not to say that it should have happened, not to say that it was okay for it to happen, not to say that that person shouldn't be accountable for their actions. It's again, that's the mess. Like you got to be real about the mess. You cannot toxic positive away from that mess. You cannot toxic positive away from violence and famine and deliberately hurting people. But if you've gone through and survived that experience, then there's a lot that you bring with you and that you get clear on for how you take that on your journey and be courageous with it. And sometimes you got to be courageous even when you're in, like, especially when you're in it. But again, I really truly believe, because I've gone through a lot of
mess,
let's call it, mess, suffering in my own ways, in my own situations, that I know the difference of when I stay in the mess versus when I can be grateful for what I've learned from this mess and then take it with me on my journey and then share that message to whoever it might work for. Again, like, I don't think my message has to work for every single one of the 8 billion people on the planet. Some people might, and that's cool too. But I just know that there's someone out there, some people out there that might benefit from the message I have to share. And that, knowing that, and the way that you need to share it, to your point about the messenger, like maybe they've heard it 1,000 times, but they just need to hear it from you in that one way for it to shift that perspective, to land a little differently, to move in a different way after hearing that.
Yeah, because only you can share it the way you can share it. Nobody else can.
You know, this is bringing up for me a recent experience that I am having a deeper appreciation for. And it's from the perspective of acknowledging that sometimes you are the one who has created the mess. So, quick story. I was hanging out with a group of friends and my family, and my friend made a reference to a road trip we had done back in '96 down to Atlanta for the Olympics, right? And he had mentioned it to my children. Oh, yeah, we went to the Olympics '96, blah, 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 right? He sent me a text message the next day. And the message read, I mentioned that 1996 Olympics magnet yesterday because it was a magnet. Then I was thinking about it after you guys left. And I was like, duh, Marc's mom. So I hope it didn't come across awkward or weird. Sorry. When we went on that road trip, my mom had passed away that very weekend while I was away. And so, we came back and everything. So what I appreciated, and I did not feel weird or awkward in that moment, but what I appreciated was that my friend looked at something he said from two perspectives. From a place of, he didn't mean any harm, but he recognized that it could have created mess. And when you said earlier, again, not running into the fire, but he could have just avoided that. He could have not brought it up. He could have just let it go. But he stepped towards the mess. He acknowledged it. And I do think that as I'm listening to you today, I wish a whole lot more people could understand that even their best intentions can sometimes cause mess, and to not avoid it, to not let it go, to not say, oh, well, get over it. I mean, you know what I meant. To acknowledge that, that's so incredibly human.
Oof. Wow, what a powerful addition to what Alexina said, Marc. Like I wrote down when you were talking, where have I created a mess? It's something that I think we could all consider, because sometimes it could be something that happened a long time ago, and it just, there's an old wound there from a non-acknowledgement, or it just makes you look at your life in a bigger reflective way. And I think that your story really hit home to me, because clearly your friend was just like, oh, fun, road trip. We're going to the Olympics. Yeah, we went to the Olympics in '96, kind of thing. Your kids aren't even born yet, It's just like all this, there's a whole, and you're right. When I saw that, and then I remembered when your mom passed, and when you said that, I was like, oh my gosh, And it really goes to show that also for any story that you're involved in, when there's multiple people, yep, exactly. Alexina, she already knew.
Totally.
There's so many different angles and perspectives. Something else could have been going on with your friend as well, like something outside of all of that. Maybe he was going through a really hard time with a relationship or something else. There's all these perspectives in one moment. And so to just be really aware of that is such a super level, like that's a superhuman level, I think. I wonder too if it can help us be better. It makes me think, can it help us be better and give more grace and compassion sometimes too? And I'll give you an exact example because Alexina, I wholeheartedly agree, like to in a millionth degree that you can't even understand what you said about, because for me personally, and I can't do that for other people, but my good friend Lou, I'll never forget the day he told me that I have so many great strengths because of some of the really hard things that I went through. I remember where we were sitting. I remember the day it landed for me. And you're right, Alexina, maybe a million other people told me that. But the day he said it, it really landed. But what I'm wondering is can we also flip that to people? And I'll give you an example. So obviously we all have people, if we're on social media, Alexina, I know that you have a really healthy relationship with social media. I love that. Yeah, ish. She's like ish.
Try, at least there's an awareness there, right? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Right. I'm like, yeah, for sure. I mean, I hear you and I'm like, it's a really great relationship. There are some people whom I love. I don't even want to put them in a category because I don't want them to know who they are. There's some people that I love that put so much hate out there right now. And if I really start to track back, though, I personally know of some of the messes that this one person in particular has been through. And I'm wondering if some of that hate and some of that spewing is coming from unresolved mess. Is mess that yes. So look, Alexina's like, let me get close into it. Yes. Right. And so I wonder if it also helps me to be more aware. And again, I want to go back. I want to be careful how I'm touching this because I don't want to make it be that if anybody's doing any wrong, that the wrong is okay. I'm definitely not saying that, of course. But if we all were able to give each other a little bit more grace and space and love and kindness, I think that we could all help each other with our messes. And so I'm just wondering about that. So Alexina, yeah.
Yeah, no, thank you for bringing that up because actually that's, oh my gosh, so many ideas, so many things. Where to begin? I think absolutely like this unresolved mess piece because, and like, why don't people go back? I think that was the question maybe you asked earlier. It's like, it's painful. Sometimes some people are like, it hurts to be realized that you were wrong. Your ego is not ready for that, or you've developed this defense mechanism or you've developed this thing, this like that has actually, there was a reason for it to exist at some point. Like Marc, you know this better than anybody. From 0 to 7, that is when your subconscious, like years old, is when your subconscious is formed. And then until 14. But by the time you're like a mid-teenager, like we kind of like all the things that like have like woven us together, our understanding of the world and of people and of everything like is like set. And that doesn't mean it can't change. Actually, we know that, our brains are very adaptable, very malleable. There is so much change that can happen there. But at mid-teens, how much are we challenging our own brain? How much are we challenging our own beliefs? How much are we challenging that voice in our head? We think that voice is a given sometimes. We think that voice, that maybe that critical voice that was, motivating us to to do what we had to do, or to prove people wrong. Like, they're wrong about me, I'm going to show them. Like, we needed that at one point in our life, right? This is like so much of what I think like therapy is about. But then you realize at a certain part of your other life that that voice is still trying to protect you, but not in the ways you need to be protected anymore. And sometimes that voice will lie. Like, I went through, I'll share this, like, I became a new parent in the last 2 years, and with thank you. And through my postpartum, I had this like very visible, and I'd been doing a lot of work already, because having a child is like one of the most revolutionary things that can really revolutionize you. Forget about like everything else, like just what you learn about you is a miracle. So I remember having this experience where my child, like flopped on me and like gave me a huge hug and like told me like, he's like, love you. And later that day, something else happened, and I was walking up the stairs and I was in a very sad place, and my brain was like, your kid doesn't love you. And for the first time, because I was believing it for a long time. And for the first time, I spoke back to the voice and I said, you're lying. Earlier today, I have proof that he cares about me. So there was a reason that this voice was like trying to keep me in this pattern, but I was outgrowing the pattern. I had been with the mess long enough to realize that isn't like, it's not their fault, that voice, but that voice doesn't know me anymore. And that voice is not telling it to me the way I need to hear it anymore. And so when we talk about social media, again, some people like to question what what you've been taught your whole life, perhaps, and to hear different perspectives, but not be open to them. You get defensive. You get afraid. You become afraid. You become threatened sometimes. And what's more human than that? And that's not okay. It's not okay to say what you have to say if it's hateful. It's not okay to do any of that. But when you are able to look at it, like Cathey, you said, we were saying, like from the different angles of the perspective, I have somebody very dear to me that believes things in a way that I didn't understand why they would react when we talk about a specific topic. It's about, various genocides happening in our world. And they were really, they would get very aggravated when we'd say certain words or we'd say certain things. And I thought about, why are they, like, they didn't used to act like this. What happened? What changed in the last few months? And our president changed, our government changed, a lot of things have changed. And I had this realization that I was like, they're afraid. And fear makes us do things that we, in our hearts, might not do for any other reason. But then you cling to what you think you know. You cling to the biases or the prejudices, because if you were to like shatter that, it's a shattering. It's truly a shattering of what you think you know. Because then if you don't know that, if that's not true, then what else isn't true? And then, so it really, again, takes courage to question the mess, to question what happened, to go back there. There's pain there. Our bodies don't want to feel pain. That's not most of us, some of us, who knows? But there's a song, a Fred Again song, where it's like, sometimes I want to feel the pain. And I feel that. Like, I very much sometimes I do want to feel the pain, because I think the pain is what reminds me of how human I am. And again, I got to go experience it for myself. But yeah, so yeah, go ahead.
Alex, that takes me back to a phrase that you just used a few moments ago that I'm just curious about. You said, I had been with the mess long enough. Can you say more about about that? Like, what does it mean to be with the mess long enough?
Hmm.
Or Cathey, whoever. I'll throw that out at anybody. Like, what does that mean to
I'm
have
happy to,
been
but Cathey, if
with?
you want to jump in, if you have a thought.
Alexina, I would love for you to answer, but I just want to put something in there before you answer it, because I think the last thing that you just said, Alexina, is what I felt immediately.
Mm,
Near, who just became part of our community, he's awesome leadership coach. We were having our first conversation. We met up for coffee and we were having a conversation, and he was telling me about this podcast he was listening to, and they were talking to this lady. I don't even, this is how good the story is. I don't know anybody's name. I don't even remember the podcast, but I did not forget this. He said they asked this lady who is like known for being one of the happiest people in the world, "Why are you so happy?" And she said, "Because I cry a lot." And
mm,
it made me think about what you said, right? And it's part of this question of like, if you're willing, if you're brave enough to go in, there's going to be a lot of crying, there's going to be a lot of hurt. Um, but it can also be very healing, and you can move out of it and take something out of it. And so that's the only thing I wanted to add because I thought that's immediately what I felt.
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah, tears are cleansing medicine.
Yeah.
We have to allow ourselves to feel the mess, to experience the mess
Hmm.
in order to learn from the mess. And you're right, Alexina. Most people tend not to like physical pain, emotional pain, mental pain. But in order to really learn from the mess, you've got to experience it. And we do a lot of avoidance. I say we, humanity, does a lot of avoidance with that. And you use the word fear. I don't know if we're afraid of it, uncomfortable with it, but we steer away from anything that is messy in the pursuit of cleanliness or whatever you want to call the opposite of messy. Um, but it's okay to get dirty.
Yeah.
Totally, totally. I love that. I love this idea of like from the mess, like the message is clear. Like when you can like
Ooh,
alchemize that, it's like
Oof,
from the
that is
message is
clear.
that is an
clear.
upgrade. I love
We
that.
got crystal clear over here,
Ooh.
you know? No, but how do you know when you've been with the what was the
Yeah, how long you know when you've been in the mess long enough?
I think, well, okay, something before I forget it. You're saying like, we avoid it, that we have this like big avoidance situation happening. And because we got notifications, we got meetings, we've got like on our phone, like we just get notified when anything happens. So like, oh, distraction, 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 distract. Like it's so easy. Oh, new show came out. Oh, gotta go meet a friend. Like there's just a life is full. Life is full. Life is full. It's so possible to just never want to go there. But again, I can't speak for anybody else, but I know that with myself, the avoidance took a really like big toll because I couldn't feel joy anymore.
Mm.
Mm. Oh,
Yeah,
Mm.
I couldn't be
right.
present. I
You just
couldn't
hit
be
me right there.
joyful. Yeah. And even in the most joyful moments, I was in my head.
Mm. Do you know if you've been in the mess long enough when, and I'm going to throw this back to what Cathey said, when you're able to find some kind of happiness or acceptance
Say,
of the mess?
repeat the question.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking of what Cathey said, right? Somebody asked this woman, "Why are you so happy?" And she said, "Because I've learned to cry a lot, or I cry a lot," right? That means that people don't necessarily, they haven't seen the tears. They see the happiness. At some point, she cried so much that a smile came to her face. Is that how you know when you've been in the mess long enough that you can cry through it and then finally find a smile at the end of it?
I don't know.
Oof. I want to answer that too, Alexina. Like, I really do.
I think it could be different for each person.
I agree.
Um, but because like some people, yeah, I don't know. Cathey, if you have a perspective, I can think about it for a sec.
Yeah, I do. And maybe this will help you to think of your own or how you went through it. Because sometimes I think things are invisible, right? You're on the other side of something. You're like, I have no idea how I got through. You didn't go back and kind of, re-engineer or backtrack to see like, oh, how did I kind of make it through? Because I do think that your soul and your heart will lead you in the right direction sometimes, and you just kind of blindly follow it and you didn't really realize what got you out of it. I will say I'm getting really emotional about this conversation where it's making my heart feel because I believe for me, and you all know I'm writing this book right now. I'm in the middle of it. I'm probably a third of the way done, called Heartbroken but Happy. And you both know I am a genuinely happy, happy, happy person. And yet I have so much heartbreak going on underneath. And for people that are close to me, they know exactly what the heartbreaks are. You both know. They know a lot of what I'm going through. And I will say that for me, part of the healing that makes it possible to be happy is like acceptance. So, I step in the middle of my mess and I have to accept certain things and I can't change them. But sometimes I feel really grateful when I'm in the mess. I'm right there and I know it's messy and I know it's ugly and it's like not good. And I really appreciate being there. I'm like genuinely happy to be there because I'm alive. I'm with people that I love and care about, and even if it's messy, it's what's going on, and I'm in the best position I can be in that moment. I know I'm not saying a lot, but but yet a lot at the same time. I know. Just in there's a very specific situations where it's really. I think a lot of people would even say, "Ooh, you shouldn't go into that situation," and I can't imagine not stepping into that fire because I want to be in the mess so that I can love the best way that I can. And it helps me to be happy. And the acceptance is really for me. And you're right, Alexina, probably everybody in every situation a little bit different. But for me, acceptance has been the best part.
You know,
Honestly, so go ahead.
no, you go first.
That's an act of alchemy. To be in something that you don't enjoy, you wouldn't wish on anyone else, that hurts, and to make peace with that, please. Acceptance is essentially the opposite of avoidance.
Mm.
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 So I think that's the alchemy. That's the moment of alchemy, is when you can make peace with that moment, that experience. And then you talked about bringing in the gratitude. It's like the clear eyes, full hearts can't lose.
Mm.
Because the gratitude it takes you from a place of, pain or scarcity or lack to a place of look what and who I have around me, or even if I don't have anyone around me or have anything, like at the very least, like I can be grateful for the breath that I have and that I'm here. And I'm supposed to be here right now. For some reason, I'm supposed to be here.
The dirty laundry never goes away. What? No. I'm going to explain what I mean, but first I want to say, Cathey, thank you for sharing as much as you shared, even without sharing much, right? When you shared, what it made me realize is we go through the mess because the only way to clean the mess, clear the mess, is by going through it, you know? And I just say, I say the dirty laundry thing because, I mean, at the end of the day, you got to throw it in the wash. You got to do the chore.
It's true.
That's the only way to clean. You got to do the laundry, right?
Yeah. And if you don't do laundry long enough, you have nothing to wear.
And the dirty clothes is not going away.
Oh, this is such a good analogy.
And then you're naked, and then you have to face it.
And then you're really fearful and afraid.
Oh man. This is so helpful. And I got to tell you, Alexina, there's so many different angles in which I believe you could be sharing this whole idea with the world. And sometimes it made me think of difficult conversations, right? We go through difficult situations, we go through difficult conversations. And I can see so many people benefiting from this. And so I wanted to create an opportunity for you to share something that you made reference to earlier. Whether it's difficult situations, difficult conversations, or any kind of metaphor of dirty laundry, you said earlier, you have a tool, you have a strategy, you have a practice for helping people to kind of find their way through the mess, to find the message. So I just wanted to really create an opportunity for you to share what that tool is.
Thank you. Such a good listener. Thank you, Mark.
You are, Mark.
Yeah, it's a new tool that I've found and created. And it's let's call it a compass, but a compass that always points you back to the center of your agency. So the compass isn't meant to take you places. It's meant to bring you back to center. And let's call it north. Let's start at the north. At the north, we have aspiration, inspiration, imagination, but aspiration. And you look to the people in your life. If I look at Mark, let's call it your optimism, or Cathey, it's your heart, or even honestly, when I first thought about this, it's like your tenacity. Like you're like, yes, get it, you know? And like, you know, I have so many other like expansive people in my life, or people that I look up to, or people that I really look up to. And, you know, whether it's integrity or honesty, whatever that is, whatever those values are that you see in somebody that you admire, that you aspire to be like, not to be the second version of them, but to take that thing that they do so well and to recognize that the reason you see that in them is because there's potential in you to bring that forward. Okay, so that's aspiration at the north. And we have action to the east. And action is the application of the aspiration. When you take that value, again, let's say optimism, since I'm looking at Mark, and say, how will I be more optimistic in my thoughts, in my words, in my actions? What will be the outcome of that optimism? By just shifting, or that tenacity. Cathey, you literally told me something of like, you challenged yourself to do, you know, 52 talks in 52 weeks, like a talk a week when you're getting started. Like that blew my mind. That was like, that's cool. That's tenacious. That's like, and then to just recognize like where you started and where you like became as a speaker after that 1 year. Like, okay, then what's that for me? What's my version of that? How do I set that into motion? And get really clear, create a strategy for yourself of how that aspiration, that value that you see, that potential within yourself, create an application for it. How in your actions will it show up? So you have a plan. So when you get to a point where you're like, oh, I'm having that thought again, you can like what's the more optimistic version of that thought? Or what's, you know, or even question, is that thought even real? Like, is that even true? Like, really? Like, just create markers in your life and in your day to have that strategy of how you're going to infuse that value into your life. And then we got foundation at the south. Our foundation is is where our, you can call it self-love, self-compassion, self-respect. I think they're all very related when it comes to the self. It's how you speak to yourself. It's the awareness with which how you speak to yourself. It's the awareness with which how you treat yourself. Like, we talk a big game about self-care, but I'm talking about like, do you even like yourself? I didn't for a very long time. I didn't trust myself. And if you can't trust yourself, how are you going to do all the things you want to do? Because I was still very ambitious. I was still very human-centered. I was still very solution-oriented. But the energy you're able to tap into when you actually like yourself, let alone love yourself, then you're doing it with a totally different energy. That energy that you're putting into those actions is a totally different energy that then flows and then has this ripple effect in a way that is just, it's like it's just, you can do it with self-hatred. You can do it. You can do that same action with self-hatred or whatever. How far is it going to go? How much of a positive impact are you going to have? So when you can like really do, and that's where like, I'm saying all these things, they sound easy. They're not easy. Like, it took me decades to get to a place where I feel that different energy that I can put in and put out that can actually be of service, because I'm taking care of this. I'm taking care of this, whatever this is, in all the holistic health ways. And you know, there's always room for improvement. Look, nobody said to do this perfectly or to do this like it's however, but like, get yourself there because it feels different. And then you got gratitude to the west, because you got to look back and be grateful for it all. You don't have to love it all. You don't have to want it all. You don't have to ever want anything like that to ever happen to you ever again. But that's where the people that invested in you, you got to go back and be grateful for. You got to pay that forward. The people that did not invest in you, that did not believe in you, that got you to where you are still today, the experiences, the difficulties. Mark, I don't want to derail the conversation, but like so many stories that both of you have shared, that if it wasn't for those extremely difficult things that happened to you, you wouldn't be who you are today. And that's where this investment of gratitude, it's not just like looking back in gratitude. It's like pulling, that's like that again, that like allows for every other part to exist, because you're actually like moving forward with gratitude, knowing that whatever, like that's where like trust, that's where you gotta like trust that whatever happens to you is like teaching you about you. And teaching you about the world and teaching about others. Grief, one of the hardest, I've lost my father. I've lost my childhood best friend very young. I lost my grandmother, who was my best friend and second parent to me within 9 months. I learned so much about grief in those 9 months. And I was young. I was like 26, and nobody I know had lost a parent. Nobody I know, like hardly anyone I know, had lost their childhood best friend, their secret keeper, the person that they went to swimming lessons with and school with and summer camp with and slumber party for the first time and just you shared your childhood with. Like, I'm still not over that one. I like still cannot, like, to this day, it's like hard for me to believe that that's like that's like that is. But I became this person that people would come to when they were grieving. I became this person that didn't stop checking in on people, because like the worst thing that you feel when you lose somebody you love is that you think everyone else has like moved on and that they've forgotten about that person or forgotten that you're in a really hard place. But I became so much more human and so much more, I don't even know if I love the word resilient, but resilient. Gave grace to people that didn't know what to say. Nobody knows what to say. Like, and then you beat yourself up. You're like, what am I gonna say to this person? Nothing you say is gonna like nothing really can like change anything. But if you just say like, I love you, I'm sorry. Or just like, what's alive in you today? Like, listen. Just like listen to somebody. Sometimes they just need a space to. So anyway, I don't know how I got here, but the compass will bring you back to you. The compass will, those 4 things, aspiration, action, foundation, and gratitude, will always bring you back to your center. And it's not just your center of like authenticity, but your center of agency. You cannot feel helpless at that center. There's only hope there.
I love this so much that while you were talking.
Leave it to Cathey. She made it a graphic. I love it.
Screenshot that. I love that.
Yes, I'll send it to you. I just couldn't, I was writing it down here in the book, and then I was like, no, I'm actually going to put it. I'm going to put it on my desk right here. This is such a gift, Alexina.
Yeah.
Thank you for that thank you for this beautiful tool, for your wise, loving, heart-centric explanation. It makes so much sense. It's really beautiful. Thank you for sharing, what you went through, because it's so easy for people just to think, oh, I hate when there's like, I hate this feeling of like, I feel it sometimes too the opposite way, where you're like, this is not a competition on who's going through the biggest mess. It never is, right? Anybody that feels something and is in a mess is feeling it, and everybody's experiencing it in different ways. So you're very open and authentic, and thank you. You give us permission to feel the things that we're feeling. I've cried 3 times this since we've been talking. And this was such a mic drop moment, right, Marc? Just to give us this beautiful tool is such a mic drop, because this is amazing. Thank you.
Cathey, please take a picture of that and send it to me.
Yeah, I will.
Okay.
I'll send it to you both.
Beautiful. Alexina, I listened and observed as you were sharing the tool and as you were going through it, right? Like, we heard the shakiness in your voice, right? It was that messiness going on. And you said this phrase after you finished. I don't even know how I got here. And here's what metaphorically I love about the fact that you said that. In that moment, you used your compass to bring it on back, to bring yourself back to center. So
Yes.
you not only shared, but you experienced and you applied your own compass as you explained the tool to us. So I just want to really show appreciation for that. That was beautifully done. Thank you. Oh, man. Alexina, what else can I say?
Bring it in for a group hug, everybody.
I know.
Bring it in.
Big group hug right here for sure.
Definitely needed that. Definitely needed that. Alexina, thank you so much. I mean, we could definitely get into this even further, but I feel like this is such an awesome place to just pause for a moment and just say, there's so much that I'm walking away with from this conversation. For me in particular, I'm thinking about um, messiness that I can sometimes find myself in, as we relate to other people and really thinking consciously about how to use that compass to navigate my way through that mess. Cathey, I'm going to ask you what is something you walked away with, and then Alexina, I'm going to ask you what has changed or resonated for you since we started this conversation. So, Cathey, you first.
All right. Well, how much time do we have? 4.5 pages of notes. I think that's the most I've ever done. All the feelings that I'm feeling, I wrote down, I wanted to like make a note of it. I was like, I got the chills again for the third time. I like circled what you wrote, I loved this conversation so much. And I felt this about halfway through. I was thinking, Marc, to me, of all the episodes we've ever done, this one really hit me the most. This one's really, really hit my heart. This one has really a great, I just felt so emotionally, intellectually connected, heart connected to this conversation. I really wish it wasn't coming to an end because it's so beautiful and healing. I'm taking away so many things. The one thing that stands out above a lot of the notes I took, though, I love that, I forgot the guy's name, like John Covet,
John
the guy.
Kabat-Zinn, yeah.
Yeah. I remember hearing this before, but the way you actually said it hit me harder than I've ever heard before. But when you said there's more right with you than there is wrong with you. And
Mm.
the thing that I'm thinking I felt when you said that is like, that's a message to the world, like we're going through a lot. It's very messy. We all have things that, are messy, but if you're alive and you're breathing and you're here, there's more right with you than there is wrong.
Mm.
Yeah.
Amen. I will jump off of that because for those that know me, I have been this like full spectrum, like rainbow, like lover my whole life. And the reason I love rainbows so much is because it's all about perspective. Like every color is just like, or every like dot of color in that color spectrum is just like a different perspective. What you're saying of, it's all a matter of perspective of how we look at our life and how we look at our circumstances and how we look at, and I say that with like full awareness of my own privilege and of how I look, of where I come from. Many might not realize that I'm half Iranian Muslim, half Syrian Jewish. I have my whole identity was messy to me for a very long time. It's not anymore, but that's a story for another time. But it's all about perspective. And so the reason I love rainbows is like we can all be these like prism of perspective. And as we do that, it goes back to the very first thing I said, which was seeing the two of you work together, the way you two collaborate. You two, it's not about Cathey or Marc in the collaboration. It's what happens in between you two. It's the co-creation of speaker skills is because it's co-created by you. Every child that we create, it's a co-creation of, we are all co-creating each other. And that's a perspective that we can hold, that it's not about me, it's not about you, it's about the perspective that we bring that can change everything. So when I say the mess is our message, keep looking to keep looking to the message to tell us what we need to do to help us clean up this mess. It's up to each and every one of us. It requires different perspectives. So look out for those. They're everywhere. They're in things that people say. You guys are always like laughing at me because whenever somebody says something important, I'm like, write that down. You know, it's like, no, really, write that down. That like can totally change your perspective on something. Like we are all like, all of our experiences are meant to shift everybody else's perspective. Like we are all on this together. So yeah, so that's just kind of where that took me of you bringing back that quote. It's like just the perspective that there's more right with me. And again, not binary right and wrong, but like there's more working in my favor to choose to look at it like that.
Yeah. Oof.
Alexina, you are a prism of perspective.
I love that, Marc.
I try.
You are the heart. You are the rainbow. You are the rainbow connection.
Double rainbow. I said double.
You are the compass. And you help us to find the message out of all of this mess and make us feel blessed. And more than anything else, if there's anything wrong, there is more right because you are so right. Oh, Alexina, oh my goodness.
Thank you.
Thank you for this conversation. I hope that everybody who walks away from it grows in ways and finds a way to use their compass so that from the message, their message becomes clear. I love that quote as well, by the way. How can people find out more about your message, more about your luminous ways and your luminary ways? How can more people find out about Alexina?
Awesome. I'll make sure that I'll send it to y'all so it's linked in the show notes, but you can find me at my LinkedIn at Alexina Shaber. We'll have it linked in the show notes, but yeah, hit me up. Tell me if you've heard this. I'd love to hear feedback. If people have things that resonated, things they never thought of before, things that they'd heard, but not quite like this. Just, I'm here for the dialogue. I'm here for the conversation, and would love to hear your perspective as well.
Awesome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
The joy.
Absolute joy. And thank you for everybody who's tuning in and watching and soaking all of this in. Cathey and I only have a few more episodes of It's About to Go Down before it becomes the future of speaking. So we still look forward to having many awesome idea conversations, just under a different umbrella, if you will. But we hope you enjoyed it. We hope you continue to enjoy these last couple episodes. And we hope that today you learned something about the clarity you can gain from your mess. Thank you for being a part of a super organic conversation. You can't get messier than an organic conversation. But as you can always tell, every time we have a conversation, from the messiness of an organic conversation, we find quite the clarity. So join us next time for these last couple of times for some messiness and some clarity, and maybe some perspective of some prism of perspective even dipped in there. On the next episode of It's About to Go Down.